You may have heard horror stories about IEP meetings. I've talked to people who have gotten in so deep that they have spent literally decades fighting the school system. Some people spend tens of thousands of dollars on lawyers to fight the bureaucracies and thousands more on specialists to get the diagnosis needed to get an IEP. It can get expensive, but it doesn't have to. This is Bella. And I'm Liz Weaver from Learning Success, and we've put together this video series to help parents who are considering an IEP or going through the IEP process. The IEP process is challenging, it is emotional, it is time-consuming. This video series will help you get through it and get the best help for your child possible. So watch the whole thing. Remember, IEPs are expensive and time-consuming for schools also, so they want to avoid them unless absolutely necessary. That can make getting an IEP challenging. On the other hand, most teachers want the best for their students, so you often have the parents and teachers fighting on one side and bureaucracy on the other, or sometimes it's just the parents on one side. Either way, an IEP can be an epic battle or a smooth cooperative experience, and you'll want to do your best to make it the latter. You can set the odds in your favor by learning the information in this video. These tips will make your life so much easier for you, your child, and your child's teacher, and everyone else involved. That's well worth the next 15 minutes, isn't it?
You want to approach the IEP meeting as a time of collaboration. Well, oftentimes, unfortunately, when I met with some parents, sometimes they brought in an adversarial attitude or disposition towards the meeting, and it was kind of us versus them, and it can be a stressful time. And one of the ways that you can eliminate that stress is to go into it with an open mind and wanting to really work together to provide the best learning environment and situation for your child.
The second thing you need to know that really helps me is I'm an ex-elementary school teacher. I was in my fair share of IEP meetings before I became a mom. And what you need to know is that educators, we go into it because we love kids. Okay, 90%, 98% of us go into it because we love kids. We genuinely want to see them succeed. So go into this IEP meeting knowing that these educators who get paid very little for what they do are there because they love their profession, they love children, and they want to see your kids succeed. Going in knowing that puts you on the same side. Like literally you are fighting the same battle. You want what's best for your child. They may come at it in a different direction or have different ideas, or maybe they're seeing it from a different perspective, but they want what's best for your child. If you go in with that assumption, it's going to be a lot smoother. The other thing I always bring in is I bring in sugar. Sugar can just alleviate a lot of stress in the room. So I bring in either a plate of cookies or I go grab some donut holes at the local donut shop and I put it on the table and I say, ladies and gentlemen, help yourself. I'm sure you've been doing this for a while. We all need a little sugar pick-me-up. It is always appreciated. And it's not a peace offering of sorts, but it just breaks the ice and it makes people kind of, you take a breath. Okay, she's a real person. She knows that we need sugar. And it kind of makes everything a little bit sweeter. And that is what I try to do at every single meeting. I just had her IEP meeting last year. I brought in some donut holes, left them on the table as I walked out the door, and I saw them all like diving in for it, which is fantastic because they had more meetings right after mine.
I think the best thing that you can do, aside from trying to remember that this is an effort to help your child, is to remember that everyone is doing and recommending what they think is best. Sometimes parents think a child needs accommodations and the student or the staff does not. And sometimes the parent's right? You know your child best. However, sometimes what you know about your child is what you see in your child at home, and what teachers and administrators and special ed case managers, they see a different side of your child at school. And sometimes those pictures look very similar, but sometimes they're going to look different. So just because you and someone else on the team may not always agree on the best approach, it doesn't mean that it needs to be an antagonistic relationship. It should be a cooperative conversation, because the ultimate goal is to do what's best for your child and to ultimately help them so that one day they can move on to the next grade and the next grade and eventually be, as a high school teacher, I see this a lot, a successful college student or adult in the working world. And so our goal is to try to work incrementally. Our job is to work incrementally towards those ultimate goals for your child. Sometimes case managers and teams, they change. They'll change a little bit from year to year because your child will move from one grade to the next, and so their teachers will change. But other times the teams will change because of transitions. Case managers leave, people transfer, the caseloads are shuffled, sometimes alphabetically. So you may not always be working with the same people from one year to the next. And I think it's really helpful to try to take a fresh approach with each new team. Sometimes teams work great together. It's a really symbiotic relationship, and it seems to have a lot of synergy, and you work well with them, you understand one another. And then someone on the team changes and you may not feel as comfortable with them, or you may not feel as if you guys connect as well. But try not to let your previous experiences color the conversations and experiences with the new team. The same can be true in reverse. You might have had not that great of an experience the last time. Maybe you didn't have see eye to eye with your child's case manager last year. Now they have a new one. Try not to let your skepticism or maybe disappointment in the way that relationship had been in the past color the relationship with the new team. Taking this fresh approach each time and trying to keep the ultimate goal at the center of the conversation is really going to help you get the most out of these meetings every year, sometimes more than once a year, for your child.
You as the parent are the advocate for your child. Being an advocate is imperative. Don't take no for an answer. I also think, though, it's really, really important to recognize that in general, I think our teachers and educators are very well-meaning. They have great intention. They are doing an incredibly challenging and difficult job that I cannot imagine doing, and to have great respect and gratitude for them is imperative. I stepped into every meeting with that sense of respect and gratitude for my child's teacher, and at the same time was strong in my voice and my opinion. And I feel like it's important to navigate the system as a team. You want your child's teacher on your team. You need to be an important team member. You want your child to be a team member. So I think that coming into the whole situation, seeing your child's teacher as an ally is really important. Obviously, there might be circumstances or situations where that's not the case, and then you need to go outside. So coming in with that attitude of gratitude, so to speak, I think is imperative, but strong. Stay true to what you know to be true about your child. Don't take no for an answer. It's a long and arduous process. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would have pushed a little harder a little bit sooner with my middle daughter to get her on an IEP. I understand that there's things in place and they want to get to know the kids and they want to sort of make sure that that's really what they need. But if you step back and just kind of let them figure it out, it might not happen. So be vocal, be strong, be present, be in direct communication with your child's teacher and your child's school. Be appreciative. It's really important to not burn bridges, even though anger is valid. It can be a really frustrating experience.
Parents are a child's first teacher. They are their child's first advocate. No one is going to protect and look out for your child more than you. That's why the Learning Success System works so well, because parents get to do it with their child. It's like having all the expertise of an educational therapist with all the love of a parent. You can get a free trial by clicking that link or the link in the description down below. In the next part of this video, we're going to learn about the benefits of building a school tribe. Here's Nashiba Harvey.
Create a school tribe. Your school tribe will have the basic people in it: principal, you, and teachers. You can add secretaries, security guards, you can add whoever you want, but you just want to let everybody know that you love your child and you're very involved and you love working with the school to make this an awesome school year. No hostility. You just want to show it's all love. We're here to help the kids. We're here for the kids. We're really involved in the process. How does this make you a great, effective advocate? Well, first and foremost, automatically, if you start out the year right, you have teachers and principals really like, oh, Miss Harvey, she's great. She comes in, she helps, she knows what's going on with her child. That goes a long way. Building relationships goes a long way.
IEP meetings, sometimes horrible, sometimes great. Next, Melanie Musson is going to tell us some stories of both.
And so we had an IEP meeting scheduled, and I am part of several Facebook groups of special need parents. And so I looked up what people had to say about IEPs so I would know what to be ready for. And what I took from my research was that IEP meetings were horrible and I needed to be ready to fight, and it was just going to be a bad experience. So I was nervous when I went to the first meeting and I cried, and not really for any reason. It was just my nerves. And as the meeting progressed, I started to wonder why I was so ready to fight, because her teacher that was heading up the meeting was on my side. She wanted the best things for my daughter. She is brilliant. She knows the law. She knows what my daughter's entitled to, and she's committed to seeing her students excel. And so after that first meeting, the next 2 years of preschool, those meetings went great. I wasn't prepared to fight because I knew that this teacher was on my side, and the IEP meetings were a wonderful experience. And then my daughter transitioned to kindergarten, and so that IEP meeting to get ready for kindergarten went very well because her preschool teacher headed up that meeting, and she knew what my daughter, the services she should get, and she knew what the ways that she could write into the plan how my daughter could be helped best. And so that was a good meeting. And then my daughter's kindergarten year did not go well. She didn't thrive like she had thrived in preschool. She didn't like going to school. And it wasn't a good experience. And then after seeing how things weren't going great, I had ideas for how to make things better, things that we could do to help her, things that we could do so that she would learn and thrive the very best way that she could. And when I went to that meeting after the end of kindergarten, getting ready for first grade, the people in the meeting from the school were not on my side, and it was not a good experience, and I was fighting. And so I've seen both ends of how an IEP meeting can go. It can go great, and it can go where it feels like a fight. But some things that I learned is to expect it to go well. So don't go into it thinking this is going to be bad and I'm ready to fight. Go into it expecting the best. You'll know if it's not going well and you're not seeing them meeting the needs of your child. You'll know, and then you can deal with that. But don't expect it to go bad. Expect it to go well.
So first, I want to just sort of set the framework and make sure that all of our understanding is in the same place. If you have a child with an IEP or an Individualized Education Program, they are protected under federal law, and they are entitled to a program that essentially provides them with a free, appropriate public education in their least restrictive environment. Obtaining that can be a challenge, and so I want to definitely make sure I am abundantly clear that this is a marathon and not a sprint. and therefore it's really important that you pace yourself. It's also really important that you think strategically about the relationships that you have with individuals in the building, recognizing that your child is in somebody else's care for the majority of the day. And whether you have a dispute or not over something related to special education or discipline or any of the ways that issues come up, your child is often going to be going back to school there. So I say that to say it's important to operate with grace and integrity and respect throughout the process, even though it can be extremely frustrating. And that's not to say you have to minimize your feelings or not speak up when you're concerned. It's just to remind you to be thoughtful about how you're approaching the situation.
And let's not forget the power of those two magical words. Thank you.
Special educators are the most undervalued, under-recognized educators in our profession today. And so often they have mountains of paperwork, IEP meetings, testing, and they clearly love children or they wouldn't be doing this job. So saying thank you when you begin a meeting with them really does help them feel appreciated because it's a hard job.
And with that, I want to thank you. I know you are a great parent. How do I know that? Well, because you watch this all the way through. That's why I know you'll do great with the Learning Success System. So I want to give you a free trial. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you in the members area.